Thank you for reviewing this brief tutorial on how to launch and use Miller Heiman Group Strategic Selling Blue Sheets and Opportunity Relationship Maps. You'll notice I'm in an opportunity record within Salesforce where I have the ability to launch either of those two tools by clicking on the launch button built in to the page layout. When I click that launch button, a blue sheet will open for me in a new window. You'll notice that the blue sheet is very compact when first opened, though as we fill out the information, the blue sheet will expand to accommodate all of our entries. You'll also notice that some fields have gray text within them. My single sales objective section has two fields, the product or solution name, which relates to the opportunity name in Salesforce, and the revenue field, which comes directly from the revenue of the opportunity in Salesforce. Gray text simply means that I cannot edit those particular sections of the blue sheet. If I need to make a change to that information, I'll need to do so back in the opportunity record in Salesforce directly. But anywhere that I encounter black text, such as the close date, when I click within that field, you'll notice I will have the ability to add, edit, delete, or update information contained there. Any updates that I make to the blue sheet or will update the opportunity record in Salesforce. Any field with black text that I click within, I'll have the ability to update the information. Some of those fields will have pick lists, like the one here for timing for priorities. Some of those fields will allow me to add in items that include free text and a pick list, such as an example of a competitor. You'll notice a number of fields have a plus button, such as my buying influences section. When I click on the plus button, it will allow me to now add an entry into that field. When I add buying influences, the first thing I'm going to do is click the magnifying glass and choose from a list of names. Now these names are automatically populated based on contact records in Salesforce.com that are related to the account that we are working on. In this case, this opportunity is for the Hershey Company account, so all of my contacts associated with the Hershey Company in Salesforce are automatically pulled into my blue sheet and available for me in this list. You may notice at the very bottom, if I have more than 8 contacts, I'll have several pages to be able to choose from. All I need to do is simply click on the appropriate contact. It will select them as a buying influence, and now I can add the rest of the information, or at least what I know. I'm not forced to fill out any information that I have or that I don't have, so I can include what is known and leave any unknown fields blank. If I click outside of that section, you'll notice it will collapse the entry but record what I've entered so far. If you need to add a buying influence who is a contact in Salesforce but is not associated with this particular account, you'll notice that in that same magnifying glass section, there is a search tab. You can search by first name, last name, account record, or multiple search fields. It will return a list of entries that meet my search criteria, and I can then choose the appropriate contact and add them to my strategy. You'll notice all sections with a plus button also have a done button, so I can also use the done button to close my entry or click outside of that particular field. As you add possible actions, you'll notice that you have a number of options to include. I can give a description for this possible action. I can associate a contact from the client. Again, I'll be presented with a list of contacts that are associated with the account, along with any other buying influences that we've also added to our blue sheet. In this case, Ben Van Sluten has been added as well. I can assign this to either myself or any other user within my organization who has a login for Salesforce. Once again, you may have noticed that that section also includes a search tab if it's easier to find individuals that way. If this is an item for the future, I can include a when date. If this is an item for the past, I could include a completed date. And then I can also give a status, and I'll be presented with some type, most often a priority type, high, medium, or low, but it might be used in other ways as well. You'll also notice that at the very top of this area, I have the ability to select items as best actions. When I select something as a best action, several things will happen. First of all, you'll notice that it will be now included in my best action plan, where I'll have a summary of everything I've identified as a best action. As well, any items I select as a best action will be written back into Salesforce as either a task or an event record, and you'll notice that I have the ability to choose between those two. Within the Blue Sheet as well, I have the ability to still identify red flags and barbells visually throughout the strategy. Towards the upper left-hand corner, you'll notice a red flag and a black barbell. And if I leave my mouse there for a moment, you'll notice that it's labeled as Enter Flag Mode. If I click that icon, it will expose flags and barbells throughout my strategy that I can then go through and identify. Simply clicking on each of those will expose the red flag or the black barbell. When I'm finished and I've identified everything, if I click that icon again, everything will go away other than those that I've identified. Again, to get back into that, I simply click the flag mode icon, remove the red flag or barbell, and click the icon again. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll notice a number of icons. The graduation cap will provide an e-learning platform. This will actually take you to the Miller-Heiman Group Knowledge Center, where it will refresh your memory on some of the key concepts that you learned in strategic selling that apply to that particular section of the Blue Sheet. As well, the icon right next to that is the manager's notes. Managers have the ability to enter coaching and feedback directly in the manager's notes section. This keeps them from making changes to your Blue Sheet without you being aware of exactly what changes they've made. When a manager does leave some feedback, several things will happen. First of all, you'll notice that that icon changes color a little bit, indicating that there are now some notes in that particular section. You'll also notice down at the lower right-hand corner, there is a reviewed by manager date. That indicates the date in which the manager's notes section was last updated. And if I reopen the manager's notes, at the very bottom of that section, it will actually give me a much more specific indication of who and when last updated this section. In addition, the clipboard icon gives me the ability to add any additional notes that I would like to. This is just a large open text field where I can enter notes. You also have the ability to generate a PDF file of your Blue Sheet. The print functionality will do just that. The default style will give you a Blue Sheet, much like we all are used to seeing. You can also include the manager's notes and additional strategy notes. If you would like to just print a few specific sections of the Blue Sheet, the overflow pages allows you to choose the specific sections you would like to print, and will then generate a PDF of only those selections you've made. Finally, the last two icons here are your Save and your Exit buttons. You'll notice the Save button when I click this. I may get a few prompts like I don't have an economic buying influence identified at the moment, or I don't have a coach identified. I'll say no to those, and you'll notice that my blue sheet will simply be grayed out while it saves. Once the save is successfully completed, it will give me the ability to edit my blue sheet once again. The exit button, that is right next to the save button, is built for the very specific purpose of ensuring that you have properly saved all of your information. You'll notice I made one very quick change at the moment, and if I click the exit button, it will now tell me that I need to save before exit in order to capture all of my information. If I were to use the close button built into the browser in a Windows PC, that will be the red X in the upper right-hand corner, and on a Mac PC, it will be the red X in the upper left-hand corner. If I were to close the blue sheet window that way, I may not get the same prompt alerting me to the fact that I have not saved all of my work. In this case, I'm going to say yes. Again, I may get some of those prompts. It will first successfully save my blue sheet, and then it will close for me. Now, when I come back to Salesforce, I might want to just refresh the opportunity record I just refreshed manually so that I'll see all of the up-to-date information reflected. There is also the Opportunity Relationship Map tool. Again, that will launch very much like my blue sheet. If I click the launch button, it will open my relationship map. And you'll notice that the two buying influences that we had previously identified in the blue sheet are also present here for the Opportunity Relationship Map. So any changes that I make, whether it's in my blue sheet or in Salesforce directly, will automatically populate any of the other three tools. Now, each buying influence is identified by a contact card. The color outline will pertain specifically to their role. So you'll notice that a coach has a green outline, technical buying influence has a yellow outline, a user buying influence will have a blue outline, and the economic buying influence will have a black outline. You can also add buying influences directly in the relationship map by clicking the plus button in the upper left-hand corner. And then if I click on that particular contact card, I now have the ability to edit the information. You'll notice I can edit all of the same information that we were presented with in the blue sheet itself. Once again, I get a list of associated contacts that are related to the account that I can choose from. You also saw I had a search function as well. Once I've identified all of my buying influences, I can now map the relationship between them. Keep in mind, this is specific to our single sales objective, and it's not intended to be an org chart or an org hierarchy for the organization generally. The black dot above each of my contacts will allow me to draw a direct line that indicates there is a direct relationship between these two in the decision-making process. The red arrow allows me to show where some buying influences have influence over others. In this case, we're saying that Ben, who is my coach, has influence over both Arthur and Jennifer in their decision-making process. If I need to remove any of those black lines or red arrows, you'll notice that if I just drag that dot into nothing, it will remove the line. Again, any changes that you make should be saved. I have, once again, my save and my exit button built in to the strategy. I'll say yes to saving. It will first save, then close. And in this case, we saw my opportunity refresh automatically for me to make sure that I'm seeing all the most up-to-date information.